So welcome back, drifters. I guess we're going to start this like every other TikTok video you see out there where it's inside the car. But what we're doing is we're going to be working on the transmission on my truck because, sadly, fixing the transfer case didn't fix my shifting issues or the slippage issues that I was having. Now, let me show you what happens when I go to try to put this thing in gear. My foot's off the brake. Look, foot off the brake. We aren't going anywhere. I have to kind of load it up. All right. It still moves, though. All right, there we go. Now it kicked in. So it still moves under its own power, but it is not doing well. And it looks like we're gonna end up needing a whole new transmission because, well, my fluid doesn't look too great. It smells burned as shit. Yeah, it's not the greatest. But what I ended up doing was going on Facebook Marketplace, and I found a really good deal on a used transmission. It was out of a different truck. It was actually out of one of these trucks that has the 8.1 liter in it. From my understanding, the transmission itself is the same, but the actual torque converter is slightly different. So I may end up having to get a new torque converter, but we're not going to know until we get this thing off. The other thing that I need to address is my grinding issue that I have with this thing when it starts. That's the grinding sound I'm talking about. That happens all the time. I believe it's going to end up being my flywheel or flex plate on this thing that is literally just chipped teeth on there. Like it's going to need to be replaced. I'm almost certain of it. But I really didn't want to have to pull the transmission just to do that. But now that I got to do the transmission anyway, we're probably going to end up doing that, throw a rear main seal on this thing and a couple other little things just to make sure that we're pretty much good to go. First things first, though, what we need to do is get the transfer case out and then get the transmission down. Now, this is going to be a pretty decent process. This is going to be a pain in the butt, but I'm trying to get it done today because tomorrow and all weekend it's going to be raining and I really don't want to be out here when it's wet. So let's get started. Oh yeah, don't forget to chalk your wheels. So first things first, let's drain this transfer case, shall we? Feels kind of bad wasting all this good fluid I just put in it, but it is what it is. All right, good enough. Now I'll move on to the transmission. This thing is just caked in fluid. Oh yeah, that shit is burned. Look at that. It's like really brown. It looks like oil almost. All right, I'm gonna say that drained enough. Otherwise, this thing's just gonna take all day. Now we can work on getting this transfer case out. So I'm a little bit behind. Turns out my neighbor actually just had a ball joint fail on him and his wheel popped off literally going down the road. So I went and helped him fix that thing up real quick because that's not really a one-person job. It's definitely something you need some hands, especially on the side of the road. But anyway, that thing's fixed. He's good to go now. We're all good there. So now what we got to do is I got to work on getting this transfer case off. Now, I've already shown how to do this in the previous video, so I'm going to try to just kind of speed this up. But it's very simple and pretty much just removing the drive shafts. I'm going to end up pulling the transfer case off. There's like 6 bolts that hold together and a bunch of wiring harness stuff. And then from there, we'll start working on getting the transmission out. So first things first, I'm going to go get that done. Okay, so now before we get this transmission out, there's a couple things that we need to address. Number one, this thing is heavy as hell. It's about 330 pounds. Without the torque converter. You put that thing in there, we're looking at 350. I might be pretty strong, but I'm not strong enough to drop this thing from down low all by myself. So that's where getting a transmission jack comes into play. Now, I got a good deal on one at Harbor Freight for about 230 bucks, but I had to do a little bit of modifying. Let me show you. So what I ended up doing was cutting out these pieces of wood to cover up these bolts here, because the last thing you want are going to be those bolts hitting into the bottom of your transmission pan. So it's really important to have something to kind of distribute that weight. Luckily, I got that wood literally from inside the box. I just took it and cut it up to make it fit. Came inside there, not a bad deal. But first things first, let's go ahead and unhook these things. This is our little NBSU switch. Pop this off, nice and easy. Now we're gonna undo the shifter cable. Right me off. There we go. Okay, so for this, instead of removing that bracket, I'm gonna end up just popping this through here. If I need to, I can reattach the bracket to the new transmission, but for right now, it'd be way easier just to do this. Boom, and fling that out of the way. So now we don't gotta worry about that falling when we get everything else undone. So we're looking at this fuel line. We got one that's mounted up at the Bellhousing. We got one that's mounted right there. There's a little bolt. We got one up here. There's a bolt up on top. And then we got this little guy right here. I'm gonna pop this little guy out. There we go. Okay, it's a 13. It's just deep. All right, got that one. Oh, these are a pain in the butt because there's no access. All right. Okay, there's one little bolt. I think I'm gonna have to get that one with a wrench. Oh man, I am caked in grease. All right, got the bolt for that, so that's loose. So now our fuel lines are loose. So you got one speed sensor all the way in there, just sitting right there. We just unclipped that one. So there's also one in between here, all the way up at the top. So it's really hard to see in here. I'll show you what it looks like on the outside. They're located on the top right here. You have one here and one right there. So that's where those two are. So I can't find my good 13. And I'm gonna have to just kind of try to do it with this little shorty here and see if we can get it loose. I certainly hope so. Oh, there we go. Thank God it's not on there all that tight. I was really worried about that for a second. Don't worry, it'll be like 5 hours. I'll get this thing out. I knew I should have bought those ratcheting wrenches. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. This will flop out of the way when we actually go to lower it. So for right now, I'm just gonna dangle it. I could just pop it off of this mount, but I just don't feel like messing with it. Okay, so we should be able to just pop this out. It's so slick because it's so covered in grease, it's hard to grab. I can't get it. Damn. Oof. I'm gonna have to fiddle with this. Well, I got it. This thing was a pain in the neck. You just have to squeeze these tabs here and pull. But you have to be careful not to pull on the actual wire. It's just, it's a pain, no matter what you do. I ended up using a little screwdriver to kind of help pry it back, but yeah, that's not easy. Okay, here we go. So I'll show you how we're gonna do these. We pop these off. And then there's a little pin in there, basically like a little clip. I like to call them Jesus clips because they always go flying. Whenever you take them out, you just go, oh, Jesus. Another thing is it's going to leak a bit. It's just part of the deal. There we go, way easier. It's way easier when I don't have to deal with the camera in the way. I'll pop that out. That's one Jesus clip. Boop. There we go. There we go. Okay, there we go. Got it. And save the clip. Now we'll pop this sucker off. Man, that is bad. Oh, it's like chocolate syrup. Oh man, it ain't supposed to be that color. So now I can have the fun of removing that exhaust clamp as well as the starter down there. And yeah, that way we can go ahead and start working on getting this torque converter off. So this pipe loose, so it gives me room to get that starter out. It was 2 bolts to get it. It was a little difficult. Some of the bolts are down here, it's kind of hard to reach, and then the other one's up top. You can get to it with a wrench here, but you could also run an extension all the way out the front if you want to do it that way. Either way works, honestly. But I'm going to get that out, and then we should be able to move on to the torque converter bolts. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go pull this little access panel off. That's so hard when the camera's right where I want to be. Oh, come on, get around there. Boom. Okay. Now we got access to the torque converter. For some reason, I lost my pry bar, so instead I'm going to use this really long extension. I'm trying to go by where the bolts are. There we go. See, and then we're just going to turn that. Going to turn that until we see the bolt up at the other side, and then we'll go remove the bolts. That's all there is to it. I don't know why it's like this, but taking the wheel off makes it a lot easier to get in here so you can actually see what you're doing on those bolts that are otherwise pretty hard to get to. So we're gonna go ahead and pull those out next, and yeah, keep this ball rolling. Yep, that's one of them. So as it would turn out, it's both an Allen key and a socket. It's very weird, but I think it's a 15 mil, so we're gonna see if we can get it. So hard to do this blind. Okay, yeah, it's definitely a 15, but my fucking socket has too much slack in it. Okay, so the method that I found works best is getting a 1/2-inch socket, and I gotta find one that fits just right. Took me a little bit to get it in there. Basically, I'm just taking it, and I'm kind of feeling it from underneath. Once I get it kind of locked on there where I want it, then I'm going to take my socket, and I'm going to kind of try to spin it on there as best I can. These things are a pain in the ass. Like, no matter what you do, they're a pain. But this is the only way I can get enough leverage to try to break it loose. And now I just got to yeet it. Good Lord. I'm literally using both hands. Sorry, this is the last one, so I got one that got stuck in there, so it's just going to come out when I pull the transmission out, but it is what it is. It's alright, not a big deal. As you can see, there's not a lot of space to work with in here. Really annoying. Alright, there we go. Damn, my hands are getting stuck. I just try to get this with my hand. This is not fun. Doing stuff in your driveway with no, nothing but asphalt on your back and trying to do this shit, like, sometimes I wonder what it'd be like to have a lift. Okay, I think that's loose enough. Now I just gotta try to get that out with my hand and not drop it, hopefully. And that, ladies, is why you should date a mechanic. Now we can finally get this thing on the date. Now I want to make a quick note that those dents were there before I even started doing this. But now you can definitely see where this thing's going to protect right here over these bolts on that pan. So we're going to go ahead and jack this thing up just to give it some support, and then we're going to work on removing this beam right here. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm actually pulling out the transmission mount nuts, trying to get those off, and then we'll go ahead and get this brace off. But yeah, I didn't realize I put the dang jack in the way of where I need to be, so I technically could have got these out beforehand. Just wasn't thinking, that's all. There's one nut. There we go. Alright, got those two out. Let's go ahead and remove this. Okay, here we go. There's a nut on top and it's fucking spinning. Oh, what the hell? Yeah, it's an 18 on top too. Ain't that some shit? Okay, there we go. That is a weird ass nut. Look at that. Look how weird that nut is. What the hell? Alright, it's on the jack now. Gotta go do the other side. Oh shit. Huh. Okay, there we go. Got it. Well, I found my missing nut to the transfer case, so that's cool. Sitting in there the whole time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lower it a little bit just so I can get access to those top bolts. So now you can see where those bolts are up there. I'm just going to run a really long extension all the way up there to get them. So this is the reality of doing this stuff, is that there is literally like no room to move under here, and like, especially if you're a bigger dude, like, oh my gosh, it's just tough. This stuff is not easy at all. I freaking hate it sometimes. But like, we're so close, we gotta finish this thing. Oh, was that the wrong size? Dang it. Alright, well, time to go back under and try again. You ever do this move? We'll see if it's this one. Maybe we got lucky, I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay, nice and easy, cool. Just got the nut for the dipstick tube off, so now I gotta go get that bracket off, that way I can pop the dipstick tube out. So as it turns out, you can get to some of these bolts from inside here. You just have to go in this way to get it, and now we got it loose, so we can pull the dipstick out. See if we can get this out without too much struggle. Okay, that's at least up enough that now I should be able to get access to those bolts. There we go. So now whenever this thing actually goes to drop, the dipstick tube should pull right out, or I can pop it out a little bit, but that way it's also in place when we go to put the new one in there, because forking those things down there once it's in is a pain in the butt. Trust me, I just had to do it on a 1500 and that was no fun. Also, I can gain access to quite a few of these bolts right here, so I'm just gonna get them out since I'm here. Well, some of these weren't even really all that tight. That's crazy. Maybe I should get exhaust. Huh, cool. There we go. Got that big mamma jamma. Got it. That's number 4. Alright, there's number 5. I'm gonna get this fuel line unhooked. Alright, there we go. Fuel line is unhooked. That's 6. Alright, number 7's out. Alright, there's 8. Alright, last bolt. Good to go. Make sure these cooler lines are out. Make sure we're not worrying about dragging those. Let's see what happens. So close. So I think what's happening is we're stuck on these dowels. I think they're rusted up in here. And I don't know exactly how we're going to get this thing out other than ugga dugga. Oh, there we go. Okay. I went in through the torque converter thing and I pried on the flywheel. Probably not the best move, but it worked. Oh my goodness. There it goes. Okay, we're free. Okay, let's move all this out of the way. This is a heavy fucking transmission. It's leaning forward. Uh-oh. Oh, that's as low as this thing goes. That's the problem. This jack only goes this low. Okay, so this idea is actually my dad's Figured I'd give it a shot because I didn't have much else to do at this point. Basically, we're going to use some of these cargo straps to try to support this thing so we can pull the jack out from underneath it and then slowly work this thing down, kind of like what you would do with a gas tank. Now, whether or not this is going to work or not, we'll find out. So, here's the thing. I can get this thing to hang. It's now technically hanging by those cables. Problem is, how the hell do I lower these cables without it just falling? I want to see if I can do it like this, just testing it. Yeah, see, exactly. That thing's just gonna fucking fall. Ain't no way that's gonna fucking work. I'm about to do some questionable shit. Wish me luck. Luckily, worst case, if this thing falls, it's just gonna land back on all 4 tires, so we'll see what happens. God. Can you believe it's that tall and it's still not tall enough? Still not tall enough. All that, and it still won't clear. Fuck, man. I think this jack is pretty much maxed out. That still ain't gonna fit. Fuck. Tried. So I had to recruit a little bit of help from last night because I couldn't do it myself. So I got my dad here to help us out. And we're trying something a little different. Have no idea if this is gonna work or not. We'll see if this works. I hope so.
Yeah, I would say like right about there. Just tighten it once or twice. You know, whatever. Because you're gonna drop it 4 or 5 inches.
I'm gonna try to do this slow. Just watch your hands.
Well, it shouldn't fall off. You should be fine.
I know, but I'm just saying.
The straps are still holding it fine. Now it's holding the weight of it on the back end and the front end.
So now here's the question: do we want to try to get it all the way to the ground, or do we want to leave it on the jack?
That's simple. Raise it up 2 or 3 pushes.
Yeah.
And then tighten the straps up. Then move the jack out. All right, now we're good. You can move this jack out now.
We can take a jack.
Yeah.
To this back housing here. Lift up this, remove the strap, lower it down enough.
Right. Right.
I don't know if that's even going to make a difference, but it would get it lower.
It will make a huge difference because if you can
we can get this to the ground, then we can lower the front.
Yeah. Okay, your strap is pretty much free. If you want to loosen it.
Yeah.
All right, right there. Look at that. That'll be closer to the ground. So go ahead and lower it. That's nice and slow.
If we can get one end on the ground, we can get the other.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's starting to tighten. All right, it's tightened now. As you're doing that, it's moving it forward.
There it goes.
Okay, heads up, watch yourself.
Yep.
Go ahead and try to loosen it.
It's gonna just pop.
I understand. Yeah. Just try to unloosen it.
Okay, I'm gonna let go. You ready?
Yep.
See?
Yep. Good thing it was only an inch.
Okay,
you did a great job getting it down. So now we have to get the jack over here and do the front.
Yeah.
Right there. Good. Now, keep going up.
It looks like a strap loose.
Yeah.
This is a
good move though.
Fiasco.
Hey, it worked out great. It was easy. So far, so good.
You say easy. You don't know how much time I have in this.
No, but I mean today doing what we're doing. Okay, is it going to hit anything? That's the question.
It should be clear. So watch your hands.
My hands.
Yeah, we're on the ground now. Now we can get out from under it. All right, time to get this sucker out. Hopefully, one can hope. Yeah.
Need help?
I think I can get this part. Guess I grabbed too much wood.
You need 6 inches.
I know. Last time I had to hammer one of these pieces of wood on here.
I ain't taking the wheels off the ground.
I know.
Stop. You could probably do it by lifting up the back end to lower the front end.
Yeah, well, let me just get a little bit more out of it.
Oh, typical style. I gotta get more out of it.
Okay, that's maxed.
Whatever. I
think it'll fit. We're just gonna have to be really...
What do you need help with?
I might be able to just grab it. Oh, it's stuck on the strap. Ah, come here, you son of a bitch. You have been the bane of my existence. You can see there's definitely no way I was doing this myself.
Dude! Get it down! Hurry up.
I'm going. Returning this thing.
I wouldn't get rid of that lift. It looks like
I mean, it's a good lift, but it doesn't go low enough.
Son, it's a good lift. Good, let's lower it before it flips.
I mean, this truck's heavy. It's not.
Look how it slides the jack all the way. All right.
That's so much heavier than the other one. Holy cow.
Heavier than the one you bought?
Yeah.
Maybe the other one doesn't have anything inside.
I don't know. I hope not. Uh-oh. So we pulled the torque converter off, and it is nasty. Look at that. Oh my God. Yeah, this is like black.
Look at that bubble.
What if it was just the torque converter that was bad? I don't know. Oh my gosh, it's heavy as hell. I just need to be able to hold it and pour it. Oh shit. Golly, this is where all the weight was.
That's a heavy ass torque converter.
I know. The one on your truck was nowhere near this heavy.
And the one on the ground probably is not that heavy.
It's pretty heavy. I'm gonna pass out.
Do you need me to hold it? Just set it down.
It was crushing it.
Was it?
Yeah.
You want me to get some of that wood?
Maybe, I don't know.
Put it right here. Now flip it onto that. And it should help support you. Is it helping at all with the weight?
A little bit.
Don't hurt yourself, bud.
I'll try not to. Well, that don't seal at all. What the hell?
Alright.
Yeah, this seal isn't sealing on this container.
What?
The seal? Or, you know, seal.
I
It's
like that.
not-
That was good.
Yeah, it's just not sealing. I don't know. It's like.
No, they never do.
So check this out. This is crazy. All this is metal shavings. Like it's all a bunch of metal that's just kind of cooked in here. This is right where my starter is. Look at that. That's just all starter bits. Like chunks of starter. Like it's even all the way up here. Like it's crazy. It's everywhere. So I need to go look at the flywheel and see what's up with that. Okay, so behind me we got the flywheel. Now, here's the thing. I've been chasing this starting issue with this truck for a long time. Now, I've gone through like 2 or 3 starters since I've had the truck, and I replaced one and literally like immediately it started grinding. And that's when I kind of knew that something was up, but I really didn't want to have to go through all these problems of dropping the transmission just to replace the starter ring gear, because here's the thing. Like, to do the ring gear, you got to do what we just did, which is a lot of work. So the only reason I did it is because the transmission was blown. If that hadn't happened, I probably would have just listened to it grind every time I tried to start it. I mean, it would always start because there was enough teeth for it to actually engage, but it's just embarrassing when you're sitting somewhere and you're just hearing and then, like, you know, it doesn't want to start. But yeah, now hopefully we'll be able to fix it. The problem is that these bolts back here are 14mm Allen bolts that have Loctite on them. I need to get an impact Allen key because I don't have one of those. It's kind of a weird one. And then we'll go ahead and figure out exactly what parts we need to order so that way we can get this thing rebuilt, put back together, and yeah, hopefully I'll have my truck back soon because I miss driving this thing. Well, I found that missing torque converter bolt. Luckily, we'll be able to get that off once we get this thing off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a mark just to get this thing kind of lined up with where it is right now, because I just don't want to mess with the balance at all. And then we'll go ahead and start heating all these up with a torch. That way when we zip these things off, hopefully they'll come off. We'll see. Let's heat this sucker up. Let's try that one. Let's see if we can get that off. I didn't even budge. Oh, my ears. Oh man, I need to get some Hearing Pro for this. That's gonna be a real problem. That ain't budging. Maybe it's just that bolt. Ah, I died. Damn it. Well, I was gonna try maybe a breaker bar, but the problem with the breaker bar is I think this thing's gonna turn when I do this. Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna need to find a way to lock this flywheel, I think. Okay, so don't mind the facial hair, okay? I've just been like fighting the urge not to jump off a bridge, but I got a tool that I think is gonna work when it comes to getting this flywheel off. It's a cheap thing that I got off of Amazon. I think I paid like 10 bucks for this thing. I don't know if it's gonna work because the actual flywheel lock that they sell on most of these diesel sites is so incredibly expensive. It's like 200 bucks for a piece of metal. Like, I get that you had to design it and stuff, but it's not worth $200. So we're gonna go ahead and try to see if we can get this thing to work. If not, I'm gonna have to make something myself. But yeah, the idea is basically this thing's gonna go in there. I'm gonna put it into one of these bolts and we'll see if it holds it. I don't know if it's gonna be able to hold up to the amount of torque that we gotta do because these things seem kind of thin, but there's only one way to find out. Also, the bolt I got for this thing is an M10 by 1.5 by 50 millimeters. Well, let's just try right here. It's a little bit closer. I really don't know if this is gonna work, but we will definitely try. Now, let's see if we can lock it in place. There we go. Okay, now comes the part to see if this thing will actually hold it. So I'm gonna go ahead and heat up this bolt and try again. All right, let's give that a shot. I mean, it's holding. Holy shit. Oh, there it goes. Oh, hell yeah. All right, so this is definitely doable and that tool is working. Thank you, Jeff Bezos. $10 versus $200. Hell yeah. Now hopefully it'll hold up for the rest of this. Just want you to be able to see what this is actually like, not just from above. Let's try getting one of the ones on this side now. All right, that should be good enough. Ain't no way I'm gonna be able to pull from this angle. I ain't got no leverage. Oh, there it goes. Huh. Moving the whole engine to do this. I think my engine mounts are a little soft. This is also good because this means that when we go to put this back on, I'm gonna have a way to keep it from moving, because I was a little bit worried, even if the impact got it off, how the hell I was gonna get the new ones on. Just have to remember which ones I've done and which ones I haven't. All right, I'm gonna speed this up unless if something happens. There we go. All right. Oh man. Ah, that's hot. Hot, hot, hot. There is a ton of this like Loctite stuff on there, and these bolts are one-time use, so we can't like reuse this anyway, but yeah, that's why that stuff's so hard to get off. And maybe now I can finally get this bolt out of here. You know what might help too is if I take this lock off. There we go. There we go. Got it. All right. Got our last little torque converter bolt. There we go. I'm gonna keep this with the marks. Hopefully that thing, I'm gonna have to take a look at that, make sure that's good, but finally got our flywheel. Man, that was a long time coming. Oh man, it's moving the whole engine. I might need to get my pry bar, but this thing's gonna be heavy as hell to get off. I just don't want to drop this thing on my hand. I've done that before. Let me get this tool all the way out. Okay. Man, it is stuck on there. Oh, there we go. So I put it in between the gap at this lower point here. That seemed to get it pretty good, because now it's loose. There we go. All right. Oh, nice. Oh boy. Oh man. Yeah, this flywheel has seen better days. So there it is, no flywheel. Now, one thing I'll note is over here we have a dowel pin. We have a dowel pin over there on that side that's facing out. And on this side it's kind of hollow. It's a little bit different than the one on the transmission I got, so I'm probably gonna have to swap those. My rear main seal's looking a little bit rough. It looks a little bit dry. I know that I had a leak back here. I don't know for sure if it was from that. So we're probably just going to do the seal anyway, because when else are we going to have time to get there? But other than that, it looks pretty good. We actually have those little chunks of metal here too. Look at this. Yeah, little chunks of starter gear right there. So yeah, so that's not awesome, but you know what? It is what it is. We'll get it all cleaned up and replace that thing. I just need to order some parts. Check out these giant chunks missing from this. This is the engagement side where the starter goes. Look at how bad that is. Like, it is literal chunks just missing. It's literally one after the next. I mean, this is really, really bad. I don't know if I've ever seen one this thrashed. Like, it's gone. Like, even all these edges on these sides are all worn. But then some are just straight up missing or like ground down. These ones are even warped. Like, they're so messed up, they're warped. I don't know if there's like one good tooth on this thing. Holy crap. This is what it should look like. I mean, it's still pretty worn, but it's not terrible. And then you get into sections like this. It's just cooked. I mean, look at that. Jeez, no wonder this thing was grinding. So if you look here, you can see that this ring gear here is like completely flush right there. But if I turn it a little bit, you'll see over here there's actually a lip. So I think that the flywheel gear has actually been slipping off. You can kind of see the edge here. So I don't know if that's just from time or heat or maybe the way that this thing was put on originally, but it's not quite lined up on the flywheel right, and that's probably why this thing started grinding, because it was slipping off. So hopefully when we do the new one, it'll actually fit on there. But luckily, one cool thing about these flywheels are you can actually replace just the ring gear. Most flywheels, you can actually just replace the ring gear instead of having to get a whole new piece, because For whatever reason, diesel parts are super expensive, and just to get a brand new OEM flywheel is like 400 bucks, whereas I can get just the ring gear for 200. And then we're not worried about having to rebalance everything and maintaining all of our internal balance on our motor. So that's what we're gonna do. I just have to order a ton of parts because I'm gonna have to get a new ring gear, I need a new torque converter, I'm gonna need a new starter gear because the starter itself works, it's just the gear's all chewed up. So I gotta order a bunch of parts, figure out what I need. Thing is, at the end of the day, my truck is stock. I'm not running a crazy amount of power, so I'm not trying to break the bank. We just want this thing to work. I'm gonna try to resell my old transmission, try to get some money back on that. Even though it's busted, I'll still be able to get something as a core. And then, you know, just try to make my money back where I can, because it's not cheap, but I really, really need my truck back. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna work on getting these parts ordered. And yeah, I'll be seeing y'all in the next one whenever we go ahead and slap this all back together. But yeah, it takes a while to get this stuff, so bear with me if it takes a little while.